Okay, so we're just going to take ourselves into a nice strong standing posture, grounded through the feet. We'll start super simple just by shifting from side to side, mobilizing through the feet. And then we're going to bring it forward onto the toes and then back to the heels. So just noticing that connection of the feet to the ground. Thinking about all 10 toes, gently pressing down. Tiggy, seriously. And then that nice roll back to the heel. And then we're going to increase that range of movement a little bit, and we're going to take it right up onto the toes. As we do that, I want you to press down through the big toe, and we want to find that sweet spot at the top so that, you know, if we wanted to, we could hold it there. We've got that nice activation through the undersides of the feet, up into the calves. Okay, from there, we're going to just bend through those knees slightly. So you can see I'm still in a nice tall position through the upper body, but we're just bending through those knees slightly. Okay, and then we're going to do exactly the same. So we just start with a gentle shift forward onto the balls of the feet and the toes, and gentle shift back. And then when we feel ready, maintaining the bend in the knees, so we're focusing on movement through the feet, we're going to come up onto the toes. So we shift that back. So focus on the movement through the feet, up onto the toes, pressing down through that big toe, and then we take it back to the heel. As we do this, I want you to focus on that movement through the feet, but also finding that sweet spot at the top. So we would be able to hold that if we wanted to. We're going to do one more. You roll it back down, and then we're just going to take ourselves into onto the mat, into a high kneeling position. Okay, and we're just going to have the toes down onto the mat, and we're just going to sit the bottom back onto the heels, just encouraging that nice release through the undersides of the feet. So if this is too much for you, we can lift and lower. Okay, so the goal is to be able to hold this position, but if it becomes too intense, we lift out, we rest, and then we take it back down. If the knees are the limiting factor, then we use the hands down in front of us to just encourage that movement of the bottom to the heels. Okay, if kneeling isn't an option, super simple, standing position, split stance, and we can just keep the heel grounded and just gently bend through that knee. So we're looking at release through the calf and mobility through the ankles. Okay, from here we're going to flatten the tops of the feet down and take it into a seated position. So again, if the knees are the limiting factor, we use the hands to assist us, and we move in and out of that position. If this becomes too intense, we take ourselves back up into the high kneeling position to rest, and then we go again. If high kneeling isn't an option, just switch legs from what I've shown you to do. And we just hold that position. If we want a little bit more from it, we can take the hands down behind us, lift through the chest, and then just take that a little bit further. We can squeeze through the bum cheeks and lift the bottom away from the heels. And we get this really nice opening through the front of the body. That feels really good. I can tell I haven't done this for a while because I feel quite tight through my quads and hip flexors. Feels good. And then we rest there. So we're going to place the toes back onto the mat, roll onto the balls of the feet, and if we can keep this crouch position for a moment, that would be amazing. Again, we're thinking about mobility through the ankles. We get this nice curve through the lower back, so nice release through there. If this is too much, then we lift up and out of that, but if we can, we keep the chest down to the thighs, and we come into this forward fold position. But ideally, the goal is to be able to hold this crouch position. Okay. We bring ourselves up and out of that into the standing position, and we're going to stagger the stance. We're going to take one foot in front of the other. To begin with, so both feet are facing forward, the pelvis is facing forward, and we're going to try and keep both feet grounded. Okay, lengthen through the crown of the head, gently tucking under through the tailbone so we get this nice opening through the hip. With the same hand as the back leg, same sided hand, we're going to reach forward, and then we're going to draw the elbow back, open through the hips, and then if we can, we're going to extend the arm back. So the key point here is we're opening through those hips, and then we go again. So we return to start, those hips are facing forward, and then we reach forward, 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 and then we're going to draw the elbow back, open through the hips. And then the hand comes back. So my front knee is still in alignment with the toes, so it's still facing forward. We're going to do that once more, and then we'll change to the other side. So we reach all the way forward. We bring the elbow back, open through those hips, and extend the hand back. So we get this nice opening through the chest. Okay, we switch to the other side now. So we want that staggered stance so that the heel is grounded on both feet. Okay, hips are facing forward, same hand as the back leg is going to reach, reach, reach. And then we're going to draw the elbow back, open through the hips, and then extend that hand back. Okay, we'll go again. So we return to center, hips facing forward, tailbone scoops under, we reach all the way forward. We draw the elbow back, we open through the hips, and then we take that hand back. And we're going to do that once more. Right hand all the way forward. Draw the elbow back, open through the hips, take that hand back. Okay, bring that back to a centered position. Narrow stance, glide the hands down to the knees, and we're just going to circle through those knees. Now with this, I want you to think about creating a nice deep knee bend as we circle through those knees. Nice deep knee bend. And then we're going to change direction. Remember that nice deep knee bend. And we bring it into a standing position. Okay, so the next exercise, we're going to draw the heel to the bottom. Okay, so we get that nice stretch and release down through the quads. We're going to scoot the tailbone under, lengthen through the spine. We're just going to hold that position. So we think about alignment of the knees, Nice length through the spine. Scoop that tailbone under to increase the stretch and release through the front of the leg. And we're going to switch to the other side. So heel to the bottom. Scoop the tailbone under, the pelvis under. Think about an optimal position for the rest of the body. And relax that down. Okay, so the next exercise, we're going to bring the knee to the chest. Okay, so we bring the knee to the chest. We draw that right up. Okay, we use the hands to support us. From here, we're going to step the foot back. Okay, and ideally, right, so this is the goal. We're going to lower that back knee down. We're going to clasp those hands together. And as we lower that back knee down, we're pressing the palms of the hands to the sky, scooping the tailbone under, so you can see I'm not overarching through that lower back. And then we power that back up, knee to chest. Okay, if that's too much, we can regress this exercise, make it a little bit easier by stepping back and then pressing the hands to the sky without the knee bend. We're scooping the tailbone under, so you can see the difference there, that exaggerated arch to the lower back. Scoop the tailbone under, and we get a nice position for the spine. Okay, knee to the chest. We don't rush the exercise. We step it back. We either take the knee down and press the palms to the sky, or we just press the palms to the sky. Scoop that tailbone under, get that nice release through the back of the hip. And then we lift up and out. Okay, knee to the chest. So the idea of this exercise is to really create a fluent, efficient movement. We step it back, we press to the sky, scoop the tailbone under, lengthen through the spine. And from this position, it's that ability, that body's capability to draw back into that standing position. So we're going to switch to the other side now. Okay, we draw the knee to the chest. Hold that there. So remember, to make this slightly less challenging, we can step back, press the palms to the sky, scoop the tailbone under so we're not overarching through the spine. Okay, knee to the chest. Okay, the goal is to be able to step that back, take that back knee down, press the palms to the sky, scoop the tailbone under. Okay, we power that back up and draw the knee to the chest. Step it back. Power the palms to the sky, scoop the tailbone under. Power it back up. We're going to do that once more. Knee to the chest. Use the hands to support you, lengthen through the spine. Step it back, press the palms to the sky, scoop the tailbone under. And then we power that back up. Amazing. Okay, so nice wide position through the legs now. We're going to circle through those hips. So just start by that hip wiggle. Okay, so we're dipping one side, then the other. And that's the movement through the hips, okay? So we're trying not to move the upper body instead. Yeah, so first figure that out. And then we're going to take it to the side, forward, so we open through the hips, side and scoop it around. Side, forward, side and scoop it round. So you will get some movement through the upper body. That's okay, but I want you to have those hands on those hips around that pelvis so that you know that that's moving. And again with this, once you're familiar with that movement, I want you to just think about how it feels. Okay. I'm going to change direction. We'll scoop it round, forward, side, scoop it round. Yeah, so you think about how it feels. Scoop it round. Good. Relax there. Bring it back into a narrow stance, and we're just going to move through a squat. Okay, so find a position that feels good for you with your feet. If you can vary it, okay, find what works for you today. So the idea is the toes are up straight forward. Yeah, we allow the feet to turn out slightly. Engage through the core, feel strong. We sit the bottom back, but the knees are allowed to glide forward over the toes. Okay, so from a side view, we're strong through the core. We take that down into the squat and we power it back up. Okay, if core stability is the issue with this, you can take hold of a book. So there has to be a little bit of weight behind the book, but not enough, not too much that you're increasing the tension for the neck. And that's just great to counterbalance, to allow us to get a deeper range of movement with squat. So really just use this exercise to challenge the body, but to feel good also. Okay, relax there for a moment. So we're going to add a little bit of something in. Okay, so we're going to add the arms into the squat. We're going to squat. Okay, same principles, same movement. We're going to allow the arms to draw down to the ground. From here, as we rise up from the squat, the arms are going to come up and overhead. Okay, we bring them down. Relax the arms down to the ground. As we draw up, the arms come up and overhead. Okay. So we'll do one more like that, and then I'll give you an option to make that more challenging. Okay. So if you want it to be more challenging, you take it down. Before we lift up, we take the arms up and then we power up. Okay. So a top tip with this one is if you're going to make it more challenging, so we take it down, the arms come up, you can widen them to a Y shape before you power it up. You might find that you increase the range of movement slightly. Okay, we're really asking for engagement through the back. Go it down, power it up. So remember that bit's optional. Yeah, you can just allow that to flow and draw everything up together. It doesn't matter what works for you. We're going to do one more repetition. And power it up. Okay, we bring that together and we just give the legs a nice little shake off. Okay, before we take it down onto the mat, a nice restorative exercise to do. We're just going to do some leg swings. So grounded through the foot, and we're just going to allow the leg to swing. Now with this, if balance is the limiting factor, place your fingertips on a wall or a piece of furniture, because we're not focusing on balance with this one. It's about that movement through the hip, the nice restorative movement. I'm going to take my fingertips on the wall just to take the balance element out completely. Okay, with that, to make it, or to change it slightly, I'm just going to increase the bend in the knee as we draw it forward. I'm just allowing that to flow. Super restorative. Okay, if you want to change it slightly again, we'll just increase the height of the leg swing. So we're not bending through the knee as much now. We're just swinging that through. And there's an element of core engagement, but I'm actually keeping this fairly relaxed, just because it feels good, yeah? Okay, so we'll switch to the other side now. So remember to take the balance element out of it, place your fingertips on a piece of furniture or hit a wall, and we'll just swing it. If you feel confident to do it or it feels better now, then that's fine. So on this side, for me, if I'm stood on my right foot, I feel pretty stable doing that without even holding on. Okay. And then we're just going to add the knee bending. And then I'm going to really increase the height of that kick. Oh, it's not the kick, sorry, the leg swing. Okay, with less knee bend. And again, just, although there's some core engagement there, I feel strong. There's an element of a relaxed element to it. Super restorative. Okay, and relax that down. And I actually find that it's quite energizing for the legs to do that. Okay, so from here, we're going to take ourselves down onto the mat. Okay, so bend through the knees and hips as efficiently as you can. You take it down into the 4-point kneeling position. So we're going to start with a cat-cow. If kneeling's not an option, keep it in a standing position. Take the hands down to the top, just above the knees on the thighs, and then we do exactly the same movement, yeah? It's about that mobility through the spine. In a 4-point kneeling position, we're going to draw the belly button to the sky, press down through the hands into the mat and lift up to the chest bone, and scoop the tailbone under. And then as we go down to the cow, belly button down, lift through the chest, tailbone back. Okay, creases of the arms where the elbows are, you can get them facing forward. You put the shoulders in a really nice position, so that's in the cow position, those creases face forward. And then we move it into the cat again. So work at your own pace, but I always say don't rush it. Okay, notice how each position, each movement feels. Tailbone under, press down through the hands and lift up to the chest bone, lift up through the belly button, and then we take it down into the cow. Tailbone back, lift through the chest. Got a nice arch through the back. And then we go again all the way up. Keep that into the come into the cat. Notice how that movement feels, how that position feels for you. And then into the cat. Tailbone back, lift through the chest. We're going to do one more repetition. All the way up. And then take it down. Okay. Settle back to neutral position. We're going to take the bottom halfway back towards the heels. Take the arms into a Y shape. And we're just going to settle the chest down towards the ground. Now I quite like with this one to use my breathing pattern to kind of lift and lower into it. So when I breathe in, I lift my chest bone away from the ground, okay, and then as I breathe out, I allow the chest to melt down towards the ground. So I breathe in and lift, And then breathe out. Lower that chest down towards the ground. If you're doing this in a standing position, use your hands on a worktop, back of a sofa, something like that. And we just walk those feet back, and we're looking for a flat back position. So again, breathe in, lift the chest, breathe out, settle it down. Breathe in, lift the chest, breathe out, settle it down. Amazing. So from there, we're going to work through the thread the needle variations. So we've not done the 3 different variations for a while, and we're going to do that today. Super good, super good. Super for rotation through the mid back and lower back. Really good for shoulder stability. So we're going to take the hand to the sky. Now you can do this in a standing position, holding on to kitchen worktop, back of the sofa, piece of sturdy furniture. Okay, so hand to the sky, and then we glide down. So you should be fairly familiar with this. So we're threading that needle. Allow the movement to flow. Think about a nice glide with the shoulder blade and the rib cage. Okay, and then we're going to change it. We're going to go into variation 2. Hand at the side of the head. We take the elbow to the sky. So we lead with the elbow. And then the elbow touches the grounded. Okay, so elbow to the sky. The elbow touches the grounded hand. We're going to do once more. And then we're going to place the hand behind the back. We're going to lead with the shoulder. So shoulder to the sky, and we glide the shoulder. We take the shoulder to the sky. We glide the shoulder. We take the shoulder to the sky. We glide the shoulder. We're going to place that hand down and switch to the other side. Okay, so there's 3 variations. If you're doing it standing, just use the back of a chair or kitchen worktop. If you feel more comfortable sticking with the first variation, just go with that. So hands to the sky, and then we glide the arm through. Hands to the sky. Glide through. Glide it through. Okay, from there, the hand comes to the side of the head. We lead with the elbow, elbow to the sky, and then the elbow touches the grounded hand. Okay, the elbow to the sky. It touches. Once more. And this time the hand comes behind the back, and we lead with the shoulder. Shoulder to the sky, and we thread the shoulder through. Shoulder to the sky. We thread through. Once more. Bring us on to high kneeling position. Again, if high kneeling is not an option, just do this next exercise in a standing position on your feet. Okay, so high kneeling position, we're going to take the hands at the side of the head, elbows out to the side. Okay, so from here, we're going to draw the elbows together to touch in the center, and then we're going to open the elbows out. So we're actually drawing them back, yeah? So elbows touch, and then we draw the elbows back behind the body. The elbows. We open, and draw them back. Elbows. We open and draw them back. Amazing. Relax those arms down, hold the hands behind the back or clasp the fingers together, just opening through that chest. Just take a moment to breathe. Okay, so we take it into a seated position and we're going to place the feet together. Okay, fingertips come down behind us on the ground and they create that lengthened spine. If you find it easier, you can place your back against, against a wall or a cupboard. Okay, we're going to butterfly the legs, just like we did with the arms then. The knees come together and then we open them out and we just use the hands as a little bit of overpressure to ask for a bit more movement. Okay, we butterfly the knees, we open them out. We butterfly the knees, they come together, we open them out. Draw those knees together, we open them out. We're going to do that once more. And then from there, we're going to take one leg out in front of us, draw the other leg towards us, ground the foot, use the arms to hug that leg to maintain length through the spine. And we're just going to windscreen wiper through the foot. Okay, so the toes turn in and out. Now with this, we're not just moving the top bit of the foot, it's coming from the hip. Okay, so we turn in and out. And this is what I call the deep clean of the hip. Really nice exercise, super simple, but very effective. So you can see the whole foot is moving, pivoting from the heel. You get that nice deep clean of the hip without really having to do a great deal yet. The body's very clever. When we move a joint, it releases its very own version of WD-40. Okay, so super simple exercises like this are really worth the time doing them, yeah? Okay, we're going to lift the bent leg up and over, okay, using the opposite arm. I'm going to hug the knee to the armpit. So it's my right leg's hooked over, my left arm is hugging. If you want more from that, you can draw the underneath leg, the straight leg. You can bring the heel to the bottom, okay? And you kind of readjust that position, grounded through the seat bones, and then you take that leg and you hug it again. So you shouldn't be getting any pain or discomfort through the knees. Remember, everything's a work in progress. So just work at the level that's right, that's good for you. Okay, so we just unhook that bottom leg. Okay, so we've got it back straight, and then we're going to switch to the other side. And we start with the windscreen wipers of the foot. So we take the foot out, draw it back in. And remember, the pivot point's the heel, so the whole foot is moving, so that we're moving from the hip, that deep clean of the hip. And super simple, super effective. And then we're going to lift up and over with the the knee, that's the leg that's closest to us. We use the opposite arm to hook that round, hug the knee to the armpit. If you want a little bit more, you can scoot that straight leg underneath us, heel to the bottom. Okay, just adjust the position to your ground of the seat bones. And we hook that elbow or that arm around and hook the knee again. Okay, we'll draw everything back to a central position. We're going to ground the feet, knees bent, fingertips facing backwards, and we're going to set those shoulders in a really nice position. So if there's any tension from the fingertips right up to the shoulders to the center of the chest, this is really nice to just create that release. And in a mirror, it should look like an upside down W. Hold this position, we lengthen through the spine, and breathe. Okay, we're lifting out of that. We're going to take hold of the hamstrings and we're going to roll back onto the mat, just hugging those knees to the chest. Give them a little wiggle, massage that lower back into the mat. Okay, we're going to take one leg down, straighten it and ground it. So we're grounded through the hip and the leg. The other leg, we're going to take hold of the hamstring. Okay, so usually we do this to create release through the hamstring side to the knee. We're going to do is exactly the same, but we're going to add a little bit of foot movement in with it. Okay, so the first thing we do while the knee is bent is we point the toes. Okay, with the toe pointed position, we're going to take the toes to the sky and straighten through the leg. From there, we pull the toes towards us and draw the heel to the sky. Okay, and then we bend the knee. So we point the toes to the sky, draw the toes towards us, bend through the knee. We point the toes. We straighten the leg, toes to the sky, draw the toes towards us, bring the knee back in, bend the knee, point the toes. Toes to the sky, draw the toes towards us, bend through the knee. We're going to do that once more. Point the toes, straighten the knee, toes to the sky. Draw the toes towards us, heel to the sky, bend the knee. Okay, we switch to the other side. So the leg we've just worked is straight and grounded, grounded to the hip. We take hold of the hamstring of the other leg. We point the toes. We straighten through the leg. We draw the toes towards us, so point the heel to the sky. We bend the knee. We point through the toes. We straighten the knee, straighten the leg, toes to the sky. Draw the toes towards us, and then we bend the knee. We point the toes. Toes to the sky, heel to the sky, bend the knee. Point the toes. Toes to the sky, heel to the sky, bend the knee. We're going to do that once more. Point the toes. Toes to the sky, heel to the sky, bend the knee. Amazing. From there, we draw the knees to the chest again, but we're going to take hold of the lower legs, the feet to the ankles, and we're just going to encourage the knees to move out to the side. If you find you're in a curled up position, we're going to try our very best to work towards grounding the head and the neck and the shoulders, grounding the pelvis. Okay, and still being able to encourage those knees up. And then we're going to press the feet to the sky. Breathe those nice big full breaths. I quite like to use this as a little bit of release through the lower back. Okay, we draw the feet to the ground. Okay, we're going to work through the shoulder bridge and then we'll add a progression in. So we start just with a normal shoulder bridge, scoop the tailbone under, flatten the lower back to the ground, and we're going to lift the pelvis up to the sky. Okay, so we lead with the pelvis at the top, we squeeze through the glutes, and we make sure we're grounded through the feet. And then we roll back down one vertebrae at a time. So the idea is we don't rush the exercise, we notice how it feels. Scoop the tailbone under, flatten the lower back from that. Lead with the pelvis to the sky, squeeze the glutes at the top, and then we roll it back down. Okay, so with this now, you can either keep it as it is, or we're going to add the pelvic dips in. So it's about that fine motor control, small movements, being able to control them. Scoop under. We take the pelvis to the sky, we squeeze through the glutes. We dip one side of the pelvis down towards the ground. We lift it all the way back to center, squeeze the glutes. We lower the other side down. Lift it back to center, squeeze through the glutes, and then we roll everything back down, and that's one repetition. We scoop under, pelvis to the sky, dip through one side all the way back up, dip through the other side all the way back up, roll everything down. Okay, we go again, scoop under, pelvis to the sky, squeeze through the glutes, dip through one side, up we come, dip through the other side, up we come, roll it back down. We're going to do one more repetition. Scoop under, pelvis to the sky, dip and lift, dip and lift, roll it back down. We straighten out through our arms and legs and just stretch everything out, right from the fingertips to the feet. I quite like to gently draw my belly button towards the spine so I can create this nice release around the abdominals and the rib cage. And then we're going to take ourselves into a nice comfortable position, wherever that may be. So you can keep moving and stretching, or you can stay perfectly still, whatever works for you. But this is just a really nice moment to focus on our breathing and creating a sense of calm through the body and through the mind. So I'm going to ask you to try and disconnect from everything that's going on externally. And just draw your focus to your breath. And the goal is to create a flowing, smooth, relaxed, deep, rhythmical breath. But with the flexibility to pause the breath if you need to, if it feels good. And to kind of settle into our own. Now, as you breathe in, I want you to think about filling your body with air so that you can get a gentle rise through the tummy. I quite like to place my hands on my tummy as some feedback for my body. So as I breathe in, I get that nice lift through the tummy. As I breathe out, I get a nice fall through the tummy, and I'm just allowing my body to melt down into the ground. And if we can create a slightly longer breath out, the breath in, it encourages that activation of our parasympathetic nervous system, which allows the body to move towards a state of calm. So we're just going to really think about subtle lengthening of the breath out. We're going to add a counting breath, which will hopefully, encourage that nice rhythmical breath. You can adapt and change the count, but these are kind of the basic kind of guidelines of it. So we breathe in for the count of 4. We pause our breath for the count of 4. We breathe out for the count of 6. And we pause our breath for the count of 4. It's all the 4s except for the breath out, which is longer, and it's a 6. So we're encouraging a pause in the breath. If it doesn't suit you right now, you don't need to add it. It's quite a nice way to create focus. Really encourage rhythmical, relaxing breath. Give our fingers a wiggle, give our toes a wiggle, bring ourselves back to our natural breath. And then we're going to bring ourselves into a seated position. We'll take those legs out in front of us, the hands down behind us, and just open to the chest, making sure we're relaxed through the legs and we're not lifting through the hips. A couple of nice big full breaths to finish off the session. And we are done and dusted.